One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham. Breaking news into the Fanfare newsfeed.
And more on the breaking news now. A federal judge just ordered Virginia to reinstate the more than 1,600 voters taken off the state's voter rolls after being identified as non-citizens. The Justice Department filed a lawsuit after their removal, which alleged that Virginia violated federal law by systematically removing those non-citizens from voter rolls too close to Election Day. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin says the state will immediately petition the court for an emergency injunction.
Yeah, Harris, common sense is clearly not at play here, and that's our issue. And so the common sense answer is, of course, that if people have been taken off the voter roll, they're not able to affirm that they are a U.S. citizen, they shouldn't be voting. And they can, of course, affirm they are a U.S. citizen and get back on the voter roll. That is common sense. That's a process that's been working in Virginia for 18 years. And to have a federal judge order that we reinstate over 1,500 individuals back on the voter rolls doesn't comply with common sense, the Constitution, or Virginia law.
Every American needs to be focused right now on Virginia and what's happening with those non-citizens. Governor...
And Harris, last comment, get out and vote, folks. You know, this is an incredibly important election, and we are asking all common sense-minded Virginians and Americans, get out and vote.
From the Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares, who says this, quote, "It should never be illegal to remove an illegal voter. Yet today, a court urged by the Biden-Harris Department of Justice ordered Virginia to put the names of non-citizens back on the voter rolls mere days before a presidential election. The Department of Justice pulled this shameful, politically motivated stunt 25 days before Election Day, challenging a Virginia process signed into law. 18 years ago by a Democrat governor and approved by the Department of Justice in 2006. He ends it. In the meantime, I encourage every Virginian to exercise their right to vote. Rest assured, I will never stop fighting to preserve the integrity of our election process. So, dating all the way back to August 7th, when Governor Youngkin issued that executive order, this judge, Patricia Giles, now has weighed in, and these 1,600 individuals have been reinstated to the voter rolls. Likely, we will see Virginia try to appeal, but unclear that we would see any ruling on that because we are just 11 days away. We'll bring you more reaction as we get it, Bill.
And what's even more astounding is the vast majority of these folks had presented immigration documents confirming that they were non-citizens, and we recently had that verified by federal authorities. So here we are with a judge saying, put people back on the voter rolls who you know are non-citizens. And this is under a law in Virginia that's been in effect since 2006. It has been applied by Republican and Democrat governors alike into this 90-day period. And here we are 11 days before a presidential election, and a federal judge is ordering them back on the voter rolls. It's astounding to me that this could possibly happen. I mean, listen, common sense says non-citizens aren't on the voter rolls, but the Constitution and the law say it as well. And that's why we are immediately petitioning the Fourth Circuit for an emergency stay here on this injuncction. And we will immediately go to the U.S. Supreme Court if necessary.
Look,
we are not going to sit by and let this happen.
Well, there you have it. DEI hire strikes again. DEI judge appointed by Joe Biden has decided that it's okay to let newcomers vote in our elections. You're not allowed to take those off the ballot. You got to leave them. Hey, listen, but they're not from here. They're newcomers. How can we keep them on the voting roll? Not my problem. Joe, this is what we're Democrats. This is what we do. It's unbelievable. At this point, they know they're done. They know it's over. And so they've completely shifted into full-on cheat mode. I hope I don't get blipped off here. I've already had some technical difficulties. My other earpiece didn't work, so I got to go with the manual one here with the wire. But it's amazing. We know it's coming. This is just the first salvo. This is the first one. There's others happening right now as we speak as well. Boom. This one just posted about an hour ago. Lancaster County, Pennsylvania says it found and stopped a suspected voter registration fraud operation to the tune of thousands. Thousands of people are engaged in this fraud. This is the full story. Breaking major voter registration fraud operation uncovered in Pennsylvania. Lancaster County District Attorney Heather Adams and 3 county commissioners have announced a major voter registration fraud operation in Pennsylvania. On Tuesday afternoon, I was contacted by Krista Miller, who is our chief clerk of elections, regarding potentially fraudulent voter registration applications that had been received by her office. At the time, she informed me that the elections office received approximately 2,500 applications at or near the deadline for registering to vote. While preparing to process the applications, the staff noticed that numerous applications appeared to have the same handwriting, were filled out the exact same day with unknown signatures, and some were previously registered voters, and the signatures on file did not match the signatures on the application. So before I begin to summarize our preliminary findings, I must remind everyone that this is an ongoing investigation. This is the transcript because they posted this thing live. There's a live video here of them going over everything that happened. The Democrat cheat operation has been launched full scale. Full scale. They're going to do everything possible at this point to try and counteract what's happening with Trump. And they're using their newfound friends, these newcomers, to actually do it. Just imagine that. Everyone has been saying for months, if not years, that this army of orcs that have been coming across the border were nothing more than new Democrat voters. Millions of them. And now they're trying to insert them into elections all across the country. Luckily, some of these things are being found, but talk about weaponization of the DOJ. As you just heard Glenn Youngkin, they have a judge in Virginia that the DOJ went to and said, hey, you got to let this happen. We got to have these votes. Okay, never mind. It's okay. And they're doing it so short of time because this is their modus operandi. They know that the wheels of justice turn slowly. They did it in 2020. They realized, we can just keep stalling and nothing is going to happen in time to stop what's going on. So they waited until 2 weeks before the election to have their judge go ahead and adjudicate a case where the Department of Justice, who should be upholding American law, their only job is to uphold American law, fought to have these newcomers put on the ballot. And then they had a welcoming judge who gave them what they wanted. And so now they're going to have to fast track an appeal, get it from the Court of Appeals, depending how long they sit on it. Then they're going to have to take it to the Supreme Court. But by then, who knows? These people may have already voted. How are you going to find them? You're going to have to go search through that. There's some real shenanigans coming up. We knew it was coming. I hope Trump's prepared. We all knew it was coming. Trump himself posted this on Truth Social right afterwards. Sleepy Joe Biden and comrade Kamala Harris ridiculously accused me of wanting to weaponize the Justice Department when they have done all the weaponizing. Now their truly weaponized Department of Injustice and a judge appointed by Joe have ordered the great Commonwealth of Virginia to put non-citizen voters back on the rolls. I would, if I were Trump, I would have rephrased that. They allowed criminals, because that's what they are, they allowed criminals to be put on the voter rolls. This is a totally unacceptable travesty, and Governor Youngkin is absolutely right to appeal this illegal order, and the U.S. Supreme Court will hopefully fix it. Only U.S. citizens should be allowed to vote. Keep fighting, Glenn, and Republicans in Virginia, keep voting early. I will be calling into Glenn's rally with Lara Trump tomorrow morning to talk about this crazy ruling and announce my final stop in Virginia before Election Day. Here it comes. Hope Laura Trump and Michael Watley have gotten their army of lawyers in position. I hope everything that they foresaw, what everybody else foresaw, is like, they're gonna do it. They have no choice. You understand, the Democrat Party has no option but to cheat. There is no way for them to win legally. There is no possible way people want what they want. 83% of Americans, 83% of Americans don't want non-citizens voting in our elections, and they don't care. The Democrats could give a crap. They don't care what the American people think. 83%, that's an overwhelming amount of Americans. That's beyond the average. It's not partisan. That's America. America has said enough of the BS. Stop it. No more of this pushing these newcomers to vote. But the Democrats don't care. Power is more important than the country. That is all they care about. If it means destroying everything, the fabric of America, they are going to do it. They don't care. I want to know, and I'd love to talk to those 17% of people who must be just absolute hardcore communists. They must not care either. They must just say, you know what, let's tear down this country. Let's go ahead and do what we need to do. Doesn't matter. I don't like America anyway. That's who these people must be. They must be people who just don't give a crap about the livelihood of their family and friends. We are on the precipice of a huge victory, and these people aren't going to go out without a fight. They don't care what the election results are going to say. They don't care that she's being beat like a redheaded stepchild. They don't care. They're just starting. Now everything that I've been telling you guys, and I've been telling you guys this since I started talking about Trump, get prepared. If you see what's coming, if you honestly can tell that they are going to do everything they possibly can to steal this election, you have to start defining what everything they possibly can means to you and understanding what it means to them. They have to turn off your power. They have to poison your water. If they have to, I don't know, take down the various grids across the country. If they have to use that defense authorization that got approved somehow. You got to be prepared. You absolutely have to be prepared. And like I've said many times, the upside takes care of itself. If everything goes smooth, which you know it won't, no problem. But you better be prepared for the downside. You better be prepared to walk up to a bank and put your ATM card in and it just, nothing happens. What would you do? You better be prepared if you've got no electricity to cook or no gas to cook. Am I worried? Yeah, I'm worried. Am I afraid? No, I'm not afraid because I know what Robin's put together here. And I also know, and I keep charting, as you should, what's going on with gold prices and silver prices. And right now, I'm shifting a lot into those items because you have to. You'd be foolish not to. I can't emphasize that much more. I used to work for a billionaire. And one of the things that a billionaire taught me was the diversification and make sure if this doesn't work, that this does work, all the way down to my level of income. And I'm like watching him do things, and someone who can do whatever they want financially was making preparations quite some time ago. So if you're in a position, even on a small basis, to get involved with gold, and just about anybody can get involved in silver, I urge you to do so. Take a listen to what the guys from Lear Capital can do for you. If you see what's going on in the world right now and what may happen here in America, you may want to prepare and pay attention. You know that Lear Capital is a big supporter of this show. If you want to be protected in the event that things go off the wall, I advise you to look into buying gold and silver. We are all just one catastrophic event away from the value of the American dollar plunging. Do you know what's not plunging? Gold and silver. In fact, gold hit an all-time high recently. In fact, I think it hit it again today. I'm telling you now, make sure that you have some form of your money invested in precious metals. Lear Capital will ship your gold or your silver coins directly to your house. It's not just a certificate. You can store them in your gun safe, or you can store them off-site in a 24-hour protected facility. It's totally up to you. But when things go crazy here, or across the world, the value of the American dollar is going to decline. It's inevitable, and it might not even take a war. We may do it to ourselves. And I mean, if the Federal Reserve plays around with interest rates, the US dollar will likely decline in value as well. Meanwhile, you'll see gold and silver continue to rise in value. If you call Lear Capital, they will take the time to educate you and answer all of your questions about gold and silver. Just give them a call at 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry, that's me, Learberry.com, to download your free de-dollarization report. You should know that Lear Capital is an American company. If you call them today, you'll be speaking with people right here in the United States. Now is the time to take action. Don't wait until after the election. That could be too late. We all want Trump to be elected. But if he isn't, or if they find a way to steal it, you'd better be prepared. Call 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry.com. And when you call, ask them how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. There's absolutely no obligation to buy anything. Just free information on protecting your hard-earned dollars with gold and silver. You know, when you think about it, you're actually not buying anything. You're simply going to be exchanging dollars for gold, moving currency. Give them a call today. Tell them Barry sent you. You know, when I run that and I try to educate you, I'm not trying to sell you, I'm trying to educate you. And I see somebody who writes that, Scott, and it says, who has money for gold, Barry? Not everyone has your money. Which is kind of a hard statement to make because you don't know what I have. What you do know, or what you probably should know, is at this point, you could also buy silver. And silver is $33 and I think 80 cents an ounce right now. $33. You don't have to spend the $2,700 or $2,800 an ounce on gold. You can buy silver for like $33. So pretty much anybody can afford to start hedging their dollars in silver. And so when you say you can't afford something, what I really, really want to impart on you is that you're not buying something. See, a lot of people think they're buying something and it's they're spending the money. No, you're just exchanging something for something else. You're still going to have your $33. You're just converting it from paper to silver or gold. If you go to the store and buy a cell phone, you're spending that money, you get a cell phone that's not going to be worth what you paid for it. That money's gone. You go to the grocery store, it's gone. You buy a piece of silver or a piece of gold, and you're going to have that, and it's basically transactional in nature. So I'm just looking to educate people. Whether you feel like you can't afford it or not, that's a personal decision that you have to make. And I understand. If you feel like it's beyond something that you can do, I understand that fully. I'm not trying to sell anybody. I'm trying to show you what you can do to protect yourself. And what we're seeing in the news right now is telling me it would be, I won't say you're foolish, I would say you'd be remiss in not looking at every angle of protection at this point. Because God forbid these people do what they do, we're going to have some problems. Get some farm animals. We're all going to die. I'm not saying anybody's going to die. I hope this backfires so bad on them and good common sense voters turn to Trump because of it. We need a big win. I think it's going to be a big win. I haven't wavered on that at all. I don't think they're going to have enough of these newcomers who can slide through the cracks. They're going to try it every way they can. I just don't think they're going to be able to pull it off. That's why I have felt so confident. Where I'm not as confident is what they'll do when they can't pull it off. See, there's a difference between saying, oh man, they might steal it. I don't think they can really steal it. I think they're going to try. My concern, and my concern for all of us, is what they will do when they fail. That's the part that's concerning to me. I can see what they're doing right now. They're doing surface level stuff right now. They're trying to get and find basically the point of least resistance in certain states to see if they can flood the voting, whether it be in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, or in Virginia, which tells you something else, which should give you an optimal outlook on things. And that being is if they feel they have to cheat in Virginia, they are in big trouble. You see, all the pollsters won't talk about Virginia. The pollsters are like, oh, that's a Democrat safe hold. Really? Why do you have to cheat in Virginia? If it's such a stronghold for Democrats, why are you having to go through this much stuff to try and make it work? Well, because it's not. As recently as this morning, they were talking about Trump taking the popular vote. So this, as we've heard, may be indeed too big to rig. The first speaker for today's event is approaching the stage, and it appears to be Ted Cruz. Remember, this one is in Texas at the border. So as soon as Ted takes the stage and gets in front of the microphone, we will get that. Dude, we need you to put out a schedule. Okay. Well, we only got a couple days left, but I will. Where am I going to post it? I'll post it in the forum. So let me just tell you that. I'll pin it to the forum, and it'll be something I can update. But yeah, get in there and basically sign up for our free forum where we can post different things and updates as to when schedules are happening. Go to fanfareshop.org/group to join our private group on Twitter. It's almost impossible to put up a ongoing, movable, editable schedule here on YouTube. Virginia for Trump, it may indeed happen. Barry, you need to buy Dogecoin. Who says I don't have Dogecoin? Yeah, I do. If they are planning a cybersecurity drill November 5th in Atlanta. Trump is dominating the cookie poll. How do we know if the okay, so a lot of people have asked about this. The Rogan Trump podcast is being filmed today. I believe Rogan lives in Texas, which may be one of the reasons why he's there. But there's been no information as of right now as to when it's going to go live. So it may go Monday. Who knows? I doubt it's going today because more than likely Rogan's an astute media guy and he understands by the time they get it done, recorded, and do whatever he needs to do, he's not going to want to put it out at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. So I'd look for Monday or Tuesday for that to be released. Let's see here. Prayers for President Trump, for America. And pray for America. Yeah. Okay. People are asking, am I covering the Rogan Trump? As I mentioned, if they provide us with the ability to do so, of course, we won't have a problem with. But if Spotify claims the rights to it and they want exclusivity, then we won't be able to. So that's what we're doing. What says? When are you giving away hoodies again, Barry? Tomorrow. That's an easy answer. Tomorrow. We've been working on getting everything stuffed and filled and sent out the last week. Ashley's been putting everything together with that so we had a little bit of a backlog. We got the shipment in, and then now we'll start doing it again. So Joe Rogan lives in Austin, Texas. Okay, so now you know what's going on today. You know full well. Now that you know that. He's doing this press conference at 1:30. You know, we've got a rally tonight at 7 o'clock in Michigan. So I'm pretty sure that either before this speech here, which it's 12:30 in Austin, so probably not beforehand, but probably right after this, they'll go to lunch and then he'll go to Joe Rogan's studio and do his thing and tape that, and then he'll head to Michigan. So I would doubt that Rogan turns that around today. It's probably going to be Monday. Let's see here. Texas for Trump. Austin is for Trump. I hope so. Have you ever thought about God just laughing at these fools? That's a good comment. I saw that the Vatican issued a statement, and the Vatican statement was that, well, actually, the ambassador to the Vatican, wasn't the Vatican, that said that she's of Satan. That's what the ambassador to the Vatican said. I mean, for them to come out and make a statement of that degree. Oh, and I think the biggest news thus far, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to change subjects on you, but we're talking about different people talking about Kamala. The Washington Post, for the first time in over 40 years, has declined to endorse a presidential candidate. The Washington Post, Jeff Bezos' paper, has declined to endorse a presidential candidate. In essence, they're endorsing Trump. So you got two of the biggest newspapers in the country, the Los Angeles Times and the Washington Post, who both stepped off and went, we're going to sit this one out. We're not going to say Trump, but we're going to sit this one out and not endorse Kamala. She's got to be seething, absolutely seething. And her numbers just continue. I mean, just continue to tank. It's at one point, I think he hit 30 overnight. Let me see where he is. Oh, all right. Let me show it to you then. As of right now, on the poly market scale, look at this. Look at this. Boom. Shakalaka. Boom. 31-point differential. 65.5 to 34.7. Wow, wow, wow. They got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing. For all intents and purposes, this thing is really over. Even with I saw some numbers today that early voting in Nevada, he's killing her. Every state, they're just dumbfounded at the numbers that they're seeing, and at this point, she doesn't seem like she has any answer. She's going to do a concert with Beyonce tonight, and people were laughing at the fact that you're doing a concert/campaign stop at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday. Who in the hell is going to see that? I don't care if Beyonce is performing at your thing. No one's going to see it. No one's going to turn. I've told you guys many a times, I watch how Trump times his things. He's got 1:30 today. He's got 7 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow he's at the football game. And doing a rally. It's crazy. She's done. She's got Nimrods running her campaign. Yep, Michigan tonight is in Traverse, Michigan. There are over 4 million people that have voted in Texas, Arizona, and I believe Georgia have the highest turnout. I sound like a broken record. I mean, I've been telling you guys for quite some time, landslide on the way. I think you're beginning to see it. Beyonce got the call. She's wasting her time now. Time for her to throw in the towel. The only reason why she's not wasting her time is because now we got to see what their gamesmanship will be. What exactly are they going to do to wreak havoc? And I don't know if you know this. Her last campaign event is she's going to hold it at the same spot where Trump gave his speech that they say incentivized January 6th. So the only two things she has she doesn't have anything that she's telling the American people that I'm going to do this good for you, I'm going to do that good for you, I'm going to help your life this way for you. The only thing she's doing right now is calling Trump Adolf, and she's going to reenact January 6th. I'm surprised they're not going to have people with ropes showing them scaling. We're going to do a full reenactment like it's some Civil War reenactment. Like anybody cares. Nobody cares, man. You've got nothing valid to tell anybody. You obviously can't answer questions. And so next week or so, you're going to reenact January 6th and do a speech there? Good luck. Good luck with that. Nobody cares. I don't trust Pennsylvania. They said they wouldn't know who had won for two or 4 days. Exactly. Somebody's telling me how to pronounce the city. It's not Traverse, it's Traverse. Traverse, Michigan. I stand corrected. I hate that phonetic stuff. Traverse, Michigan, tonight. Vatican hierarchy is a cesspool. Yeah, that's true. Beyonce and Jay-Z's numbers are numbered. Yeah, that could be something. Yeah, I think wrong. Somebody else just corrected me. Yes, I get it. I understand. It's Traverse. Got you. Traverse, Michigan. Anyway, that's where he's going to be. I'm going to say that place in Michigan tonight. Trevor. Guys, you guys are killing me. You're actually killing me. Beyonce is only doing it for the money. Well, if they paid Lizzo $2 million, they're paying Beyonce some serious money. I hope they didn't pay Bruce Springsteen any money. Whew. I don't know if you've seen the video of that, but it looked like an old man playing guitar and barely singing. Didn't have the band with him. I didn't think he'd have the whole band. I wonder if the people thought it was going to be the whole band. It was just old man Bruce with a guitar, basically doing an unplugged type show, and it sounded horrible, absolutely horrible. So you guys better get off me with this thing about how to say the city. What's the George Santos news? Don't know. I don't get into all that stuff. I hate when people post something on X or formerly Twitter. Oh, something's good about to drop. Well, what is it? If you know, why don't you just say it? I hate when they do that cliffhanging BS. I don't pay any attention to it. It means nothing. If you got something to show, put it out there. If not, shut up. We don't want to do that. He's not the boss anymore. DJT is the boss. That's for sure. They're telling us in Maricopa it's going to take 10 to 13 days. Oh yeah, I saw that. It's coming. They're going to try and do everything they possibly can. I'm telling you right now, be prepared for it. Some people didn't like me talking about gold and silver, but I don't care if at one point I said, get some Spam and some spaghetti, and somebody said, no, it's not healthy. I don't care what you get. Get some protein bars and dried milk. Whatever it is you need to do to make sure your family is protected, do it. Do it. I think Ashley's planning a X-Space next week where people are going to talk about prepping and stuff and getting ready. But if you're not seeing what these people are thinking, do you realize that today there was, I don't know if it was today, but they thwarted an attack on Elon Musk. And what's interesting is this stuff is coming from the UK. So you've got the UK involved at this point trying to take out Elon Musk. Let me see if I can show that to you. The same guy who just basically saved those astronauts. They got home today. Let me see if I can find it. But they thwarted an attack on Elon Musk. Unbelievable. Oh, wait a minute. That was before. The newest one, I'm sorry, was RFK Jr. That's who. Well, let me see if I can find it. UK, because I'm not sure if they'll show this stuff on the news. Okay, let me just show you guys this. Here we go. Boom. This story dropped this morning. And then this stuff is going on, and our DOJ and our FBI is worried about other things. UK is so pro-Muslim and so anti-Christian and anti-Semitic. It's being directed by Emmy heritage people. UK's digital hate chief busted in secret plot to silence RFK Jr. Can you smell it? You sniff the desperation at this point? And you're concerned about not being prepared, or that I'm telling you to be prepared? If they're getting this desperate all the way around, that they want to do something to Elon Musk a couple times, thwarted. Obviously, you've seen what they've done to Trump. And now, RFK Jr. as well. That's absolutely crazy. So we're about 10 minutes late. I'm watching on the screen. He has not come out. Nobody's come out yet. I did see Ted Cruz walking around, but other than that, no. I learned all the edible weeds in my yard. I put that's a good one. Get antibiotics and your medicines early. Generator, fuel, water, filtration. Absolutely. It's time, people. I'm not an Alex Jones type person. I'm not looking to put on a tinfoil hat. I just know these people are desperate. And luckily, I live in the state of Florida. That tampers my concern tremendously. I know what Ron DeSantis is doing. I went to vote yesterday. It was the smoothest experience you can imagine. We were in and out. From the time we parked to the time we got back in the car was 15 minutes for both myself and Robin to vote. It was that simple. And there were no lines whatsoever because there are so many places to go, and it's so well protected, and it was clockwork. No problem. None. You get a copy of it. It was seamless. If we had more governors like Ron DeSantis, we wouldn't be having this problem. And now I understand that heavy, deep blue Miami-Dade is now flipped to Trump territory. So we're feeling really good down here. Damn shame there's no 2A in UK. Yeah, that's true too. I'm thoroughly ashamed of my country because it just keeps getting worse. I mean, absolutely worse. But there are some people out there that are trying to tell people, hey, you need to do some things and make this thing beyond too big to rig, make it a landslide. There was a great article in the New York Post, and I want to, while we're waiting, see, I try to time these things so these guys get on stage, but it's not. I want you to see this. Let me pull this up here, because it ends up burning time, but we have to burn time, we will. All right, so Michael Godwin, who writes for the New York Post, says, pray for Donald Trump to win the 2024 election in a landslide. He said the presidential election remains close, supposedly, but most recent polls show Trump leading in nearly all the battleground states. The margins are small, but the trend is clear, leading to nervousness in the Kamala Harris campaign. NBC News reports her team is worried that Michigan is moving towards Trump, and perhaps Wisconsin too, forcing her to seek alternative paths to 270 electoral votes. It's also telling that Democrat Senate candidates in those states are basically pushing her to the side. They don't want to be associated with Kamala Harris. Things are so bad in Democrat circles that there are rumblings that Joe Biden would have been a better candidate. For some analysts and Trump supporters, these developments are fueling talk that he could actually win the Electoral College in a landslide and maybe even pull off a majority of the popular vote. And that's seemingly happening at this point. I love what he says here next. What he says here is, I hope he does both. It's exactly what America needs. A decisive victory would bring a great moment of clarity for our nation and sound a certain trumpet around the world. Our allies would benefit from having a president who believes in a strong military and honors defense agreements without being trigger happy. Our adversaries, most notably Iran, Russia, and China, would be put back on the heels by a president who won't appease their aggressions. Bingo. This country, the world, needs it to be a landslide. That's not a bad thing. Maybe if you're a Democrat who's bought into the Kool-Aid of all the crap you've been hearing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing for America and the world. In fact, it's probably going to be a good thing. If he gets in with a landslide and he wins, in the Electoral College, and he wins the popular vote, it's a clear mandate. It's a clear message, and his ideas, what he wants to do with the people he has surrounded himself with, are going to tell the world, this is where America stands. This is what America is going to be doing. Y'all need to get your affairs in order. No, we're not writing checks to every single little country that wants America to fund something for them so that some ambassador or contractor that's working with you or some lobbyist can get a kickback. Gravy train's over. It's America first. And I think that's what we're working at, and I think that's what has everybody freaked out. What I really think, personally, some people have asked me, so Barry, what do you think is going on? Well, I personally think that the whole, how can I say this without getting myself in trouble? I think a lot of the things that people have heard about certain lists are indeed true. I saw something with Tucker today, and Tucker did an interview on Joe Rogan, and in that interview, he talks about having talked to some people, a good friend of his who's in the Senate, and he goes, "What is wrong with these people? Are they really that stupid, or are they controlled?" And the guy told him they were controlled. It's like, how the hell could you be controlled? Well, you've done some shady things in your background. And they all know what those shady things are. And your pride, that is what's wrong. Pride is keeping this country from being what it could be. Everybody makes mistakes. Some of us have made bigger mistakes than others. Some of them have made heinous mistakes that they don't possibly want the public to find out. If we have that ultimate cleansing, it's going to be painful. People are going to be embarrassed. People are probably going to jump out windows. People are probably going to find different ways to disappear. But at some point, that cleansing is needed. Because as long as certain three-letter agencies have the control to blackmail you and control you and determine what you're going to do because you're terrified of your indiscretions being made public, we don't have a functional government. And if they've installed these people because of their indiscretions, that makes it even worse, which means they did it on the front end with the cheat, got this person in they knew has been doing bad stuff, and then now they control that person, and they, here's some money, just shut up and do what we tell you to do, and keep doing it. I mean, think to yourself for a second, some of the stuff that you know on the surface, you don't even have to dig deep. You know for a fact that Dianne Feinstein had a Chinese spy in her operation. Nothing happened. Nothing. You know that Eric Swalwell, who's still in government, was sleeping with a Chinese spy. Nothing's happened. And we could go on and on and on. And these people are still in place, supposedly a part of our government. At this point, I think we need to rip the Band-Aid off and say, if you've been a bad boy, here's your chance. Here's your chance to be a bad boy, and you could turn yourself into a real man. You can allocute in front of the world. Say, listen, I slept with a Chinese spy, and I told her certain stuff. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take my comeuppance. What you got for me? Here's your free pass to Gitmo. Next. Yeah, I've been doing insider trading for the last 10, 15 years. I've made about 15 million. Here's your pass to Gitmo. By the way, pay this fee. I think it would be that bad. I think that the hidden secrets of what's gone on in our government are as bad as basically the tunnels in the Vatican. When you start going through the bad checks back in the 90s, and you go through the sexual harassment settlements, and then you go through the list of the various parties and airplane trips to the island, and you start going through all this stuff, I think it would be an expungement of Congress. And that's not even the stuff that other people have done behind closed doors that they don't want people to know. And some of it may not even be that bad. But because they're afraid of their pride being put on the line, it terrifies them. Maybe it's as simple as some congressman lives an alternative lifestyle. Maybe he wears women's clothes. It doesn't necessarily mean he traveled to that island, but he doesn't want anybody to know. Or maybe, he bought some hookers, but he doesn't want anybody to know because he's a proud person. Pride, I think, is going to cause many of these people to have a fall. Meanwhile, you put Donald Trump up on trial and you laid him bare in front of the world and you brought out hookers and everybody else and porn stars and everything. And this man, he's still standing. Why is that? Why is that not a model that some of these people can say, you know what? I'm not going to be blackmailed anymore. Yeah, I'm done with it. Yeah, I slept with a goat. Yeah, I was bad. Yeah, I made a mistake. I was in college. I was drunk. I think the American people would be a lot more forgiving than watching you go on for 10 or 15 or 20 years in Congress being a tool, a complete puppet. Your pride is stopping you. And I'm telling you, I feel very confident that many of those men in Congress did things that we wouldn't even really have that big a deal about anymore, but it's embarrassing to them. Maybe XYZ Joe didn't pay his taxes. Okay, you're ashamed of that. Or you cheated on your wife, or you beat your wife, or you did this, or you did that. And you've made it so much worse because you won't be truthful. And now these guys own you. They completely own you. You can't do nothing because they have a secret that supposedly you don't want anyone in the world to know that you did. And then you don't realize, hey man, if you had just owned up to it, it's bad, but we probably could have just moved on. I had a friend who went to a fraternity house, and he wasn't supposed to tell me the ritual of being in this fraternity. And the ritual was they do something with you, and then they catch you doing something. And once they've got you into it, they're gonna kick you out the fraternity because you've done something so bad. And they bring you to the Grand Poobah, and he talks to you, and then the Grand Poobah tells you, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring you down in front of the Brotherhood. We're going to blindfold you, and we're going to let the Brotherhood vote whether you should stay or not. And, that night, they bring down, they've got the robes on, the ritual robes, and they sit you down, and they say, okay, well, Fred has done this. Should we ban him from the fraternity? Has there anyone else who has been convicted of doing the same thing? Stand up now. All right, so, and then they unblindfold the guy, and everybody in the room is standing because everybody in the room has done the same thing. And the idea behind it was to tell people you're not alone. You just have to come clean. I just wish more people in our country, I wish more people in our government would just come clean, because what you think you've done, it's forgivable. We're Christians. I mean, you may have to pay a price, but if it's not that big of a deal, but you think it is, we all have standards. We all try to believe that we're doing the right thing, and we're following the same path. And things I've done in my past, some of you may say, wow, that guy Barry, wow, man, he's done some serious crap. But then I'd meet somebody else and like, damn, dude, you did that? Well, you made my stuff look like nothing. I don't feel that bad no more, because you did some crazy ass shit. You see, there's levels. And the only person I really had to confess my stuff to, actually there are two people. One, my wife, and of course the other one is the Lord. And then after that, I don't care. I don't care what anybody else thinks. You can put the dirty laundry, you can put it everywhere. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I got a woman who loves me and a God who loves me. And that's what our government should be all about. The fact that you allowed yourself to be compromised at this point is, in my estimation, all that's bad. Or they just go along with to make a boatload of money like Pelosi. Yeah, you can't take that with you, man. As they say, you can't take it with you. Thank you and God bless. Yeah, cheating, exactly. All right, so that was perfect. Where is that? Somebody talked about cheating with the nanny. So you've got Doug Emhoff, and all his dirty laundry got put out there. And he cheated with the nanny, and it's making jokes on night comedians at night and all that kind of stuff. And then when you sit back, you think to yourself, well, that ain't all that bad. Bill Clinton was using cigars as sexual aids. He survived that. He said yesterday, Carrie Lake's kind of hot. He hasn't changed, but at least you know who he is. You know specifically who Bill Clinton is. Now you know that Doug Emhoff slept with the nanny. Then you find out that he beat up his girlfriend, which is probably worse in some people's eyes than sleeping with the nanny. It's all levels. And he's not running for anything. And you now can't use it against him. Hey, if you don't do this, we're going to tell everybody you slept with the nanny. Dude, they already know that. Oh, that's right. Can't use that. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, the whole stuff, I can't tell you how many people have written me, oh, Candace Owens is exposing this about Kamala Harris and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, give it a break. Give it a break. Why am I going to spend any time looking up what Candace Owens found out about Kamala Harris's family not being black? We already know it. I can look at her. She ain't black. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. There's nothing that exposing that is going to bring to bear any sort of punishment. Now, on the other hand, if you got some sort of information that she was hanging out with so-and-so's parties and she was doing some crazy stuff, now you got something to talk about. But telling me you're exposed her great-grandmother as not being black and that she might have faked it, I don't care. It's not going to change anything. We need stuff that is going to change things. Somebody did find something odd about Kamala Harris, but it's only 10 days, 11 days before the election. It's not going to matter. Found out she never tried any cases. How about that? Every time when she goes up on stage, I'm the only person in the room who's tried transnational gangs or whatever. Turns out, no, she didn't do anything. She wasn't first chair, meaning the person who actually works the case. She wasn't first chair on any of those cases. But it doesn't matter. We're 11 days. And if you want to stop a campaign with this short a period of time, you're already seeing how big it would have to be to stop anything at this point. They came out and called Trump Adolf. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Didn't move the needle in that much. It has to literally be a numbing bombshell, and we know there's no numbing bombshell against Trump at this point because for the last 8 years you've done nothing but drive this guy crazy with every lawsuit possible. There's nothing there. They haven't done the same kind of vetting and digging, but you're still only 11 days out. So the only thing at this point that matters to me is the vote. So I know George Santos is like, we got something that's going to end her campaign. There's nothing that's going to end her campaign. I don't care if you got pictures of her rolling around in bed with monkeys. It ain't going to end her campaign. You know why? Because there's a whole half of this country who don't care if she was in a coma on Mars, but if she was still not Donald Trump, they would vote for her. Period. They put in a dementia patient. It doesn't matter to the Democrats. And likewise, they could tell me that Trump was, owned midgets. I don't care. At this point, it's baked in. So it is what it is. Now it's just a matter of how this fight is going to end. What is going to happen after this fight? That's the stuff that everybody needs to be preparing for at this point. There's really nothing of scale that's going to change much in this race. Hey, well, there's a video of Trump calling somebody the N-word. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't. We're so far past that at this point. And here's why we're so far past that. We are looking at a political party that wants to eviscerate free speech. Basically make it so that none of us can ever speak again. I don't care if Donald Trump at one point in his life, before Melania, with Melania, had an orgy with Transformers. Does that make me bad? I don't care at this point because there are issues that are much more important than transgressions. If he's telling me, and I believe him, I'm going to basically make your country safe from, keep the First Amendment, keep the Second Amendment, keep certain things out of schools, do all that stuff. I don't really care about your transgressions right now. We're Americans. And I think, as my phone goes off, people are like, don't say that. No, I'm seriously, think about it. You can put it in the chat and I'll ask you. You tell me, who is this? Am I on my way? Where? You tell me at this point what you would hear from somebody, what you would see, what kind of video, probably maybe Trump executing somebody, but what would it be to tell you that your First Amendment isn't as important as this? What would get you to change your vote and go vote for Kamala? That's an easy question. And I'm sure you could do the same thing with the people on the left. There's nothing is going to change. So at this point, stop with the whole Candace Owens crap. I don't care. you, and I'm advising you at home right now or at work, wherever you are, stop looking at the distractions. Don't pay any attention to that. Who cares? At this point, they're trying to cheat. They're trying to impugn your way of life. And then after this election, all hell's going to break loose. And when all hell breaks loose, even after Trump's elected, now we got to find some way to get this ship into port. We have to find a way to make sure that that ship still arrives on January 20th or 21. That's all I give a shit about. Because after that, then he can do what he needs to do. But it's October 25th. We got October, November, December, January. We got 90 days. 90 days to make sure we can get to that point. I don't care if it means throwing out a backpack and taking off the pew-pew and helping. Start preparing for what you need to do to make sure he gets to January 21st. And let me just put it this way. Let's say you weren't that sold on Donald Trump before, and you lived in, I don't know, Asheville, and you watched your federal government that Kamala and Dementia Joe basically run at this point, and they told you they were going to help you out with $700. Meanwhile, they're giving this guy over here gazillions. Do you care if Donald Trump slept with a hooker? If he says, I'm going to fix this for you? You know, right now, you have some water, your food is lacking, your property is in shambles, and your government at this point is basically like, so what? You don't vote for me, we don't really care. Put yourself in those people's position. I know it, because I can walk out the other room and talk to somebody who's got family up there. Luckily, they're all in a different place, so they're okay. But just imagine, you're sitting there right now in dirt, in mud. You don't know what you're going to do. Yeah, some people have brought over some provisions. Hey, somebody brought me a tent. But everything you've known is gone. And you just want to know, not only am I going to be okay, but can I complain about the government that stood me up? Because right now they're telling me I can't even bitch about it. When you put it in that perspective, I don't care if Kamala Harris is green. I don't care if Tim Walz drank the horse milkshake. I don't care if Trump did Debbie Does Dallas Part 5. I want to know which one of you guys is going to help me and my neighbors. That's who I want to vote for. It's that simplistic. Yeah. At least he didn't beat the nanny. He slept with the nanny. Can we live without free speech? No. I'm telling you, no. You can't. Here's why. That's a great question. Can we live without free speech? Because if you can't have free speech, then you don't have a voice to say anything about anything. You see, right now, they don't want you talking about certain things here, the jabdemic. I had one video taken down because I discussed JFK. They don't want you talking about things that might look bad. Last night, I had to edit out the part where the UFC boxer was talking before Trump. They don't want you hearing about that. So the question is, can we live out free speech? It's more like, the answer to that question is, can you define what free speech is? Because it's going to keep changing when they say, not only do we not want you talking about this, we don't want you watching this television show. You know what? This company didn't do well. We don't want you buying their product. What do you mean? I want to buy Lay's potato chips. Nope. Lay's is no longer a potato chip company that we approve of. You can no longer buy them. Oh, that soap company. No. That soap company donated to Trump. You can no longer buy from that soap company. Oh, we're going to install digital currency so we can tell you when you go to the store and you get ready to swipe the card, oh, no. You can't buy that. You watched the wrong movie last night. That all sounds far-fetched until you start digging in what free speech actually means. When they can control the various aspects of your life to what you can actually say out of your mouth, it's already here. I've been talking about it for months here. How so many things I can't discuss here. There's only one place you can discuss, and that's over on X. So if we're already seeing the whittling, I get many comments. Barry, why don't you show the music? Barry, why don't you say this? Barry, why don't you just say what you mean? So if they already have a hold on you to tell you what you can say just by the words, the other people can say it all. You go on some liberal channels, they can say whatever they want. They can call Trump the Adolf name. They can say that everything because they control the speech. And that's just where we are now. And I know if I was forecasting and I'm like, if Kamala got in office come February, I probably wouldn't be here. Benny Johnson probably wouldn't be there. Patrick Bet-David probably wouldn't be around. You think they're going to allow people to continue? Free speech is what they will determine your free speech is. And I know to some people this sounds so conspiratorial. And I'm like, I'm living it. I can't impart upon you enough to let you know I'm actually living it. Donald Trump can get up there on stage today. He can talk about all the problems that are happening with the newcomers, the word I have to use. He can say that they did this to a little girl, they did this to a woman, and I've got to go back in and delete it all. I'm not allowed to talk about certain things and let you hear certain things. So it's already here. Now we're just looking at what magnitude that they want to take it to. See, you may not realize it because you're home, you're at work, you're with your family, you got your phone, and you're like, hey, oh man, can you believe Kamala? Yeah, she's such a witch, and blah blah blah. Hello? What happens when that happens? What happens when you're having that phone call and it just drops? And you try to call the person back and say, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to use phone right now. That's the kind of world I'm thinking, where the algorithms can dig in and find out you've been a bad boy or bad girl, and there's nothing you can do about it. Meanwhile, over in England, we can't say certain things, but they can block the entire street 3 or 4 times a day and just start praying in the street. That's okay. You try it. Yeah, if they see, that's just it. They don't want to get out. They want to take over here. Conservative gal says, I already know the calls are screened. Absolutely. I can prove that to you too. I'm in marketing. I've been in marketing for years. People say, oh, it doesn't listen to your device. Really? Every once in a while, I don't even have an Alexa. I've got an Amazon Fire tablet sitting back there behind me. And every once in a while when I'm talking, they go, oh, what'd you say? I'm like, you ain't supposed to be listening. I'm not talking to you. Or you're talking about something and your phone is picking it up. And next thing you know, you're seeing an ad for it. Oh, yeah, that's real. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. I've bought those ads. I've targeted people with those ads. They're absolutely real. Democrats want the exact same thing China has. Yeah, tell us what you can only... Yeah, absolutely. This cyber simulation exercise on Election Day, November 5th, could be what Hillary hits to be the October surprise. I don't know. I just see that their capabilities are quite huge in terms of what they can do. I'm looking at this event here. This was supposed to, just to give you an idea, this was supposed to happen at 1:30. It's 2 o'clock right now, and most of the room appears to be empty. And I'm not sure what's going on. It looks like it's near an airplane hangar. Maybe they're waiting for Trump to come in a certain airplane or something. But there's well, let's take a listen real quick. Maybe they're giving us some sort of hint as to what's going on. But you'll see, there's nobody there.
Exacerbates our grid issues. We've also had a couple coal plants go offline in the last 10 years. Ironically, that fly ash or that ash from burning coal is used to strengthen concrete, and so now we're seeing.
Well, they're playing music in the background, and you get in trouble for that too. Big Brother listens to everything. Yeah, that's for sure. Bush called it in 1990s New World Order. Absolutely. Will Kamala certify the election? She has to. Stop with the scary stuff, Barry. Everything's going to be fine. You don't have to worry about government. You don't have to worry about the Department of Defense and their authorization. You don't have to worry about the quality of your water. Everything's going to be fine. Would you like some pixie dust with that? Just let me know. Because, for the rest of you who want reality, I can't help with Pat there. Stop with the scary stuff. Maybe it's not so scary if you're informed, if you're prepared. That's the whole idea. It's not to scare you. I told you, I'm not scared. I'm prepared. I'm just letting other people know what they need to do to be prepared. The truth is scary at this time in history. You're absolutely right. We can't bury our heads in the sand. No. July 13th should have told you. If you weren't clear, July 13th should have showed you how friggin' scary it is right now. I cannot believe that people who have been watching this channel and have been following Trump and saw what happened on July 13th still have something in their mind about, no, it's going to be okay. Maybe my idea of faith is different maybe than yours. My idea of faith is I pray, things out of my control, I give to God. The things in my control, I take care of. You know, I would think God gave me the intelligence. Hey, Barry, what? Sorry. Yes, Dad. You know things could get bad here. Yes, I did see them try to kill the man on July 13th. All right. So since you know that they're willing to do anything, I've gleaned, I've given you the information, the intelligence to do what you can on your own. I'll help out. I'll watch out for you and your family. Continue to pray to me. But you need to do what you got to do. Gotcha. So when you say, stop with the scary stuff, I'm like, man, I don't know, I had like 300,000 people watching that day. And we watched this man's head almost get blown off on national television. There's not much more scary than that. As he said, he turned his head to look at that chart. Do you realize, talking about stop with the scary stuff, it was a jovial crowd. We were all happy. It was a great event. I want you to just think to yourself. And this is what may be very scary. I just want you to think, close your eyes and think of this image. We're all watching that event. And we're jovial and we're talking and high-fiving. Hey, this is fantastic. And then in an instant, you would have seen this man's head get exploded. How would you have felt then? See, it was scary enough to see what happens, and it was scary enough to see him go down, and it was scary enough to see the entire thing, whatever happened ensue, and it was scary to see him whisked away, and we were wondering how he was at the hospital. You wouldn't have had to wonder. There would have been no head. How would you have felt then about him, his family, and this country? See, I don't think enough people have really, really looked at that and said you would have seen something so traumatic on live TV right in front of your face. You would never have been able to recover mentally from it. Many people anyways. That vision would have been in your head forever. you would never again say, stop with the scary stuff. And how do I know this? Because my mom told me what she felt when JFK got killed. And she remembered that well until, basically the day she died. Talk to some people who saw that happen. You think RFK Jr. doesn't remember specifically what his family went through? I don't think when you say stop with the scary stuff that you understand the capabilities of your government. That's scary. One of my favorite movie, The Godfather. Godfathers, all of them. And you remember the scene when Kate and Michael were walking after he had come back from Italy, and Michael turns to Kate and said, I'm going to go legit. And he goes, my family, we're going to go legit. And he goes, we're just like any other businessman. And her response to him was, well, other businessmen and senators don't have people killed, Michael. And he's like, who's being naive now? I can't believe I remember that entire exchange. Go back and watch that. Maybe that just sat in my head for years, decades. And I just went, that was just such a compelling exchange. Senators and businessmen don't have people killed, Michael. Who's being naive now? Who's being naive now to think that what our government is or isn't capable of? Yeah, and we would have, July 13th scared the absolute hell out of me. It scared the hell out of me, and it should have woken up a lot of people. We remember that in Texas. It was terrifying. Yeah. I have to drive this truck, so I'm going to try and stay away from bigger cities at least 1,500 miles from the house until November 18th, unless it gets really bad. When I have to cover this amount of time, and there's no explanation why, that's the kind of stuff that gets my mind thinking too. Like, why is he late? Why haven't they started the other speakers yet? What's going on? Nobody here looks like they're troubled, and they keep showing like the entrance. Here, let me show you. This is the entrance. They keep
along with you. Twitter, Social Truth, donations.
All right,
we're on every
so we're seeing limos pull up now. So the whole motorcade is coming in. That's got to be Trump's motorcade, because there wouldn't be that many vehicles securing. So there's the sniper crew and communications. So that's Trump's motorcade coming in right now, as you see. And he's probably in that one. Obviously, it's pulling up right to the door. But what caused him to be late? So that whole huge motorcade is still coming in of black SUVs and Secret Service, and here comes the Secret Service into the building. Don't know why the previous speakers didn't speak, but there he is. There he is. He shows up. Notice he didn't come from that vehicle that pulled up right in front of the door. That was extremely interesting to me. Was that a decoy? I don't know. But he came out of a different vehicle than the one that pulled up to the door. Anyway, he's here finally. I don't know how long this is supposed to last, but the press is ready. Everyone's taking pictures. And he's gotten there safely. All these people were waiting. Let me see if they're playing music, or can I go to it? Yep, they're playing his song, obviously. And he's there. These people in black are all border security, so we're understanding that today's speech is about border security and what has happened with all these newcomers. I'm pretty sure he'll talk tonight, talk this afternoon about what happened in Virginia in terms of them basically letting people vote who aren't from here. And again, I don't mean to upset anybody by telling you, some of the things in regards to be careful. I just think you just need to be careful. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to make you afraid. I'm just trying to let you know what could happen, and I don't want you to be caught with your pants down. That's the only reason. All right, so, and I apologize if I do scare you. I'm trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be there so that, you can get told the truth, and you have other people here that you can speak with as well. Those of us who have gone through things. I'm just trying to be a sounding board for you and let you know. I'm not telling you what to do. I hope you're fine, and if it's fine, then no big deal. I definitely don't want to scare anybody. But anyway, he's about to talk, and we'll get through this press conference and see what goes on. It's nothing about scare. I don't have that interpersonal relationship with you to scare you. I just know, and I think everybody should remember what happened on July 13th and what these people are now going to be capable of doing. That's the man who basically at this point is we have to worry about. All right.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor. This is an honor, and I want to thank the people behind me because they have done an incredible job under very adverse conditions, I have to say. And they're very special people. Very special. Congratulations to Paul. He gave a speech last week, which was incredible. I mean, they endorsed me, so I have to think it was incredible. So thank you all very much. It's a great group of people. They love our country. Before we begin, I want to address the unconstitutional decision issued today by a radical judge appointed by Biden, and just came down in Virginia, illegally allowing non-citizens to vote in our elections. In fact, a poll came out, 87% of the people disagree, so that's pretty good amount, isn't it, Ted, huh? The outrageous decision goes against the very bedrock of our democracy, and thankfully, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, who's doing a terrific job, is working hard to fix this problem. They found thousands of illegal votes, and the judge said, you didn't do it in a timely fashion. They did it a long time ago. As legal scholar Andy McCarthy just said, and very correctly, how can non-citizens be allowed on the voter rolls if their voting is a federal crime? Constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, two great guys, by the way, also notes that it is a crime to be a non-citizen voter. Removing illegal voters off the voting roll should be a big priority for this country, and yet instead we're scorned by a judge. This is blatantly un-American, and it's election interference, and Kamala Harris is behind it very much. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and obviously, I mean, it's up to the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, but I assume they're going to be appealing it. I think he's going to. And they feel very strongly about it, so we'll see how it goes. But you have to get the confidence going for elections when you have decisions coming down like that where they allow people to vote that blatantly aren't qualified to vote. It's pretty sad for our country. We have enough problems with the elections. It's about confidence. We're here today in the great state of Texas, which I like it. Which under Kamala Harris has been turned into ground zero for the largest border invasion in the history of the world. You're lucky you have your governor and people like Ted and Dan and all of the people, Sid. Even John, who's from a different state, but he feels the same way, or you would really have problems. But you've done an amazing job under the circumstances. But the federal government's supposed to be doing that job, and it should be easy, and it's not because of the people. But over the past 4 years, this state has become Kamala's staging ground to import her army of migrant gangs and illegal alien criminals into every state in America, and every state's a border state. You've heard that. It's true. Paving a trail of bloodshed, suffering, and death all across our land, and it's only getting worse. It's just incredible when you look at the numbers. 21 million people at least during this 3.5-year period, and many of them, as you know, are murderers, drug dealers, people from jails. They're They're letting their people out of jails and bringing them right into our country. We're like a dumping ground. What Kamala Harris has done on our border is cruel, it's vile, and it's absolutely heartless. Her policy of importing migrant gangs is a crime against our country. It's actually a crime against humanity, and her abolition of our border should disqualify her for even running. I mean, I don't know how you can run for the president of the United States and allow people to pour into our country. And we're talking about seriously criminal people, many of these people, and they come from all over the world. It's not just South America. They're coming in from Africa. They're coming in from the Middle East. The Congo, that's a hot place right now. A lot of people coming in from prisons in the Congo. They're coming into our country. It's not even believable, actually, when you think, you're standing up here, you're saying this stuff, John Barrasso, but you're saying this, and you say to yourself, is it even believable? It's sort of like, actually in a smaller way, but still very important, men playing in women's sports. Who would want that? But, 10 years ago, you would never say that. And then you have the transgender operations all over the place. And you're saying this, and you have parental guidance. And we want our child to be parentally guided. And you have to make apologies for the fact that they're not. But they're going to be, and we're going to bring that back. We want our parents. But, if you go back 10 years or 15 years ago, if you ever made a speech like that, they'd say, this guy's crazy. What is he talking about? Those things would never happen, and they didn't happen until a certain time ago with the radical left. No person who is responsible for so much bloodshed on our own soil can ever be allowed to become president of the United States. And I think she's coming here today. She doesn't want to go to a swing state because she's losing so badly in those states. So she decided to come to Texas, and I'm sure she'll be treated very nicely. Today, she picked the wrong place. I think she picked the wrong place. What do I know about politics? I haven't done it that long, actually. But today, Kamala is here in Texas to rub shoulders with woke celebrities. Isn't that exciting? But she's not going to meet with any of the victims of migrant crime. While she's here, we have many of them right here, the families, we have many of them, and they're incredible people, what they've gone through, the hell that they've gone through, and will continue to go through, unfortunately. She'll not speak to the grieving mothers from whom she has stolen the brightest light in their life. She was in charge of this border, and she doesn't like being called border czar anymore. She didn't mind it almost 4 years ago, but now she doesn't like it. But you don't need that term. She was in charge of the border. She never came here, and she never made one call to these people behind me or anybody in the group. Not one call. She's in charge. She deals with Border Patrol. She hasn't made, Paul, not one call in 4 years. So we're joined today by a Texas mom, Alexis Nungary from Houston, a great woman. This past June, thank you. Great one. Where is Alexis? Where is she? Come up here, Alexis. Come up here. So this past June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious angel, as you say, Jocelyn. We all called her that. We feel we know Jocelyn, and she's had a big impact, Alexis. You know that, right? She's had a big impact. Walked to a nearby convenience store. Jocelyn was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted, and I'm not going any further than that. I'm standing with the mother, and horrible things happened to her, to that young, beautiful girl. And the animals arrested for Jocelyn's barbaric murder are 2 illegal aliens believed to be members of the savage Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. And they're all over the place now. They're all over our country. They were in Aurora, but Aurora is now the least of it. They've taken over buildings in Aurora. The government, a radical left Democrat, weak person, doesn't know quite what to do. He's always got a big mouth when he talks about other things, but he has no idea what to do. And they have weapons of military grade. You say, how did they get those weapons? These monsters were in Border Patrol custody, but under a program Kamala Harris created to abolish detention for fighting-aged men, whatever that means, and give them free and automatic entry into the United States. The killers were released into our country, and Alexis, we cannot begin to imagine your pain. And if you'd like to say a few words, would you like to? Would you? Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
I want to thank everybody for Donald Trump, really, for the opportunity to be able to say my daughter's story. I know everybody knows somebody that was like her. She was 12. She was going to be a 7th grader, preteens. They think they're invincible. And she was just being a child. And due to the Biden-Harris policies we have here are why she's not here anymore. She was taken from her vulnerability, and they made her a target and ran with that. And now I will forever be a grieving mother, and my son will forever be a grieving brother who will no longer get to grow up with his sister. Kamala Harris has never reached out to me, just even as a human, to give her condolences as a humane person running this country. I think it's very sad that she can't even just give me an open apology, sincere apology. She's attempted to apologize to me just days before this election, and I find it very inconvenient and a convenience for her. I appreciate everything Donald Trump, Senator Ted Cruz has done for me. They've been a tremendous amount of help for me and my family during this incredibly hard journey for me. I want to thank everybody for listening to my words. Thank you.
So I want to thank you, Alexis, and we will never forget Jocelyn. We're not going to. We've all seen her picture. It's blazed into our minds, and the violence and viciousness, and nobody calls, nobody talks. And we have many others like that. The 13 soldiers that were killed so horribly in Afghanistan, nobody called them. Nobody calls them. But certain people they call, but they don't call them. They weren't called. They weren't treated properly. They were treated very badly, actually. And many others, including some of the people in this room, nobody calls. I don't know. Just from a human standpoint, I call. It's like you can't do much because it's done. We could have done much if we were running things, Ted. We would have had strong borders. We would have had all the things. At least they would have had a real good chance of not having been caught up in this crime wave that's happening. It's a crime wave. The number of people coming in, we have no idea what the number is. I say 21 million. A lot of people think it's more than that. And then you start talking about the gotaways. I think the gotaways could be, Dan, double that. Who knows what it is? They're running into the country. We have no idea that we call them from parts. I call them from parts unknown. As of 2 weeks ago, Tom Homan told me it was 181 countries were represented and people pouring in. So it's no longer just a small group of people from the 3 or 4 countries that we're accustomed to talking about. In an interview last week, Kamala Harris was asked directly if she would apologize to Alexis for letting in the savage killer that took Jocelyn's life, and Kamala Harris refused to take any responsibility whatsoever. She refused to own up to the fact that open borders and totally unchecked. It's not even open borders. Open borders are horrible, and how stupid are they? How stupid. We're the only country in the world that has this. But they don't even check them. They don't vet them. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they're going. They just come in, and then they fly them over, you know? When the border got a little bit tougher because people were getting angry and just, we had citizens standing at the border wanting to do, and then they get in trouble because they want to do the job the federal government's supposed to be doing. But she refused to own up to it. And last night she said she wants to make strong borders. I mean, what she did last night and the night before, the town hall with Cooper was just unbelievable. Alison Cooper got so angry. But think of it, never an apology, never a phone call to anybody. So thank you very much, Alexis. We're going to get this thing straightened out. We're going to get it straightened out. We got to get it straightened out. Just from the standpoint of our heart. No calls, no nothing. Worst of all, Kamala refuses to stop importing these killers into our country every day. She brings in more. She's got no remorse at all for the innocent blood that's on her hands, and the blood is on her hands, and Biden too, but Biden doesn't know where the hell he is, so what difference? I just saw him. He's making a speech somewhere, and he screwed it up pretty badly. But he's got his glasses, the whole deal, standing outside, wind blowing. He doesn't look great for us. He doesn't look, that's not what we want. That's not what we want. President Xi used to look at him and still does, I guess, right? But he used to he just said, this makes me so happy, he says. And Putin and the whole group, Kim Jong-un, they're tough guys out there. They're tough and they're smart and they're streetwise and they're at the top of their game. And we don't have that. That's very nice. Thank you. What a good line that is. That she said, that's why we have you. Thank you very much. Wow. Do you know that woman? You know that one. That's very good. Thank you. It's very nice. Thank you very much. 2 days ago, she said she could not think of any mistakes that she's made. She was asked a question. Can you think of anything that you would do different? Can you think of any mistakes that you've made? Now, actually, she couldn't think of it. It's about as good. She could say, I would have strengthened the border. I would have lowered taxes. There are about 500 answers she could give, and you're out of that question, right? She couldn't think of a thing. You know, the worst of all, though, really is 325,000 young children are possibly dead, but many of them are dead, but they're sex slaves, or at a minimum, they're missing. They'll never see their parents again, most likely. We'll do everything we can when we come back. I don't know. It's very far down the line. We're going to do everything we can together. But think of what that number represents, Dan. 325,000. And the fake news media doesn't even talk about it. If that were a Republican instead, it would be the biggest scandal in history. It would be the equivalent of nothing else. And they don't even talk about it. They cannot talk about 325,000 for you people are missing. Think of that, are missing, and probably will never be seen again, most of them. But we're going to do the best we can. It's a tough assignment. But most of them, they're probably dead. Under Border Czar Harris, there are 13,099 illegal aliens convicted of murder that were released from jails and prisons and penitentiaries, and they were set loose into the United States of America. We're like a garbage can. We're like a garbage can. First time I said it was last night. Gave a speech in Las Vegas. 29,000 people. It was an arena. We set the arena record. That was a big deal arena, too. We set the record, but it was an amazing crowd. The first time I ever said it, I don't know, it just came out, garbage can. We're like a garbage can for the rest of the world to dump the people that they don't want. Do you know what they say from that? Their mental institutions are being emptied out. Their jails and prisons are being emptied out. And their gangs and their drug dealers and everybody's being taken off the streets. And Venezuelan crime is down 72%. Can you believe it? Well, that's because they don't, the criminals are being put here. If we don't win this election, we're going to go to Venezuela next year, Ted, and we're going to celebrate there because it's going to be much safer than our country, okay? Is that a deal? We'll all go together. You're winning. No, it's just so bad. Well, I have to tell you, I'm not supposed to say it, but we are winning by a lot, actually. And The reason is we want them to keep voting because we have to go, these used to take one day. Now they go on forever. And bad things happen. Lots of bad things happen. Where are those votes that I saw 2 days ago? Well, we're painting that section and we decided to move them, sir. Oh, you can't believe it. So they said, don't say it. So I didn't say it. Don't tell anyone I said that. But we're doing well. We're doing well in all 7 states. Every one of those swing states we're doing well. And we're doing really well here. But we expect that. But in another atrocity, Kamala released and unvetted MS-13 gang members from El Salvador into the United States. These are real beauties. MS-13, that's another gang. They use knives. They like knives because it's more painful. They cut people up. They killed 2 young students walking to school, 2 beautiful young women, young girls. And they were walking to school, and they got them walking to school, and they knifed them up and cut them up. Didn't want to use guns because that's not painful. And you know who got rid of them? ICE. They're friends from ICE. They work so well together. And Kamala wants ICE is, you know what ICE is? Tough people that love our country. They have to be tough. Because I know a lot of tough people right up here. You don't want to do what they do. They got to be tough. And they've done a great job, but they did a very good job here. But the animal that went on to attack and tie up a 20-year-old autistic woman in Maryland before, raping her and strangled her, then strangled her to death very violently in front of numerous people and actually put it on tape. Put it on tape. These are the people we're bringing into our country. In New York this past summer, an illegal alien released into our custody and came into our country by Kamala. You know, I never use the word Harris because nobody knows who I'm talking about. When I say Harris, they say, who the hell is Harris? It's true. If I said VP Harris, nobody knows who it is. Can you believe she's a VP? A VP. How about the guy she's got? That's worse. I'm not sure. It might be worse than her. Well, she lived by the old adage, always get yourself a bad VP. And she's got one. We were very happy when we heard that choice, but we didn't know he was as bad as he did. He's a disaster. But Kamala approached 2 13-year-old children with, think of this, these people that she let in with machetes, knives, guns, in broad daylight, forced them into the woods, tied them up together, their wrists, everything, raped the young girl, park. Filmed the entire thing, put it on camera, put it out for everybody to see. Badly injured this person and somebody with her too, really badly. In Georgia this year, and you know this, everybody knows this, except Biden, he didn't know how to pronounce her name after pressure because he didn't talk about it either, Alexis. He refused to talk about it. Then he was actually forced to because it got so crazy. But in Georgia this year, an illegal alien criminal with ties to Trenday, Aragua, kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered a brilliant young nursing student, Laken Riley, you remember? Laken Riley, who was a beautiful, I got to meet the parents a couple of times, they're incredible, but they're like devastated. You know, you can't really say, oh, well, everything will be, it's not going to be okay, it's not good. It's just, you can't really, there's nothing you can say, really. A lot of times they say, like to Alexis, what can I say? The only thing we can do is do something about it so it doesn't happen again, you know, and that's all we can do. But she murdered her while she was out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape, and they got her. Her killer was yet another monster released into America through this open border policy of Kamala and her group of radical left idiots. Under the Trump administration, we will end this migrant invasion and we will deport every last criminal alien, targeting our daughters and our children, our families, other people's families. They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone fast. Some are so violent, you know, we can't let them go. We can't send them in because they'll come back. But we have some pretty strong policies that we're putting into place immediately on January 20th. We're honored to be joined by many of the incredible Border Patrol agents and law enforcement heroes who will help us restore safety to America. And I'd like to invite a very special person. He made such a good speech last night. They endorsed me. And this gentleman made a very good speech. I said, you know, I'm going to have to go back and start practicing. Ted, you and I are going to have to practice a little bit. But Paul Perez just assumed the big power position from Brandon, who was a fantastic guy. He's still involved in so many ways, but they endorsed me, something they're not really probably even supposed to do. I won't get into that. But they love the country. And in endorsing, they said very bad things about her. They don't want to say bad things either. They want to say great things. Even me. I didn't know I was going to do this. We had a very good first election. We had a much better second election. We got close to 12 million votes more than we did the first time, the highest number in history. And okay. And then I saw what was happening with the country. It was so bad and so incompetent. It didn't take long. I would have preferred that the country was really well run. John, I would have preferred it. If the country was really, if Biden got in there and he was a great president, I would have actually preferred it. And right now I'd be on a beach or a golf course or something. I'd be doing something else. But I'd rather be in Texas with you. I can tell you that. I'd rather be in Texas with you because we're going to make our country great again, and we're going to do it. And if I could ask Paul just to come up and say a few words, and I appreciate very much the endorsement, Paul. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, President. Thank you, President. I really respect the fact that you came out to Texas to highlight migrant crime, illegal alien crime. We've got some good people here in the front row that have been supporting the governor's efforts to do the federal government's job. And so we really appreciate that. But I want to talk about the person that's going to be coming to Houston tonight, not to apologize or highlight illegal alien crime, but to party like a fool on stage with celebrities. Instead of apologizing to the families, this is somebody who likes to brag about being a former federal prosecutor who prosecuted transnational gangs and cartel members. So she knew better, President Trump. She knew better than most exactly the threat that these people, these animals, create, the threat that they bring to our communities that will harm our families. And these scumbags listed here on these pictures here are part of the Kamala crime wave. And because of that, the Kamala crime wave has devastated cities. President Trump strikes fear in the enemies of America. That is the type of leadership that we need in this country. Just recently, the criminal cartels have greenlit firing on Border Patrol agents. They would have never done that under President Trump because they know he would send the message that if you touch a single hair on a Border Patrol agent, I will eradicate you. That's the strength and leadership we need from President Trump. Not the clowns that are running for president on the Democratic ticket. My daughter can handle a shotgun better than Tim Walz. And he served in the military, as he claims. The Secretary of Homeland Security, also a former federal prosecutor. They know better. They should have stopped this invasion. They did nothing. They not only facilitated, but they encouraged it. This border needs to be fixed, and the only person that can fix this border is Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much. Paul, thank you very much. Boy, it's you can't say it better. You can't say it better. And they really know the subject. If they thought somebody was slightly better, that's what they want. They just want it fixed. And their job's a lot easier just to let everybody pour through. It's a tough job when you do it right, but that's what they want. They love the country. This is just a great group. I've gotten to know them so well over the years. I did call them a lot. and we had the safest border. We put down my all-time favorite chart. Without that chart, I wouldn't be standing here, Dan. But that chart basically showed we had the lowest, and it was done by Border Patrol. We had the lowest number of illegal migrants. We had the lowest number of drugs in many years, and all of the different categories were number one. The day I left, and I said, we're going to have to come back. We're going to have to do it, and we'll do it even better because we really have experience now that we didn't have then. I want to thank the Guillen family. The Guillen family is here. They are incredible, brave, and beautiful family. They lost their daughter and sister, and she's up in heaven looking down, very proud of you, and very proud of the stance that you took. A very vicious group of people, just liars, and a magazine that's a failing magazine run by a guy named Goldberg came out with a bad story about me, that I had told them I was going to do something and all this, and they were so incensed that they said, we can't let them say that about what took place with the daughter. I was going to help them. If they didn't get the military funding, I was going to fund it myself. I told them that, but they were able to get the funding. And I guess they came out with a story that, what's it called, the Atlantic magazine, Atlantic. This is a really bad, they were the ones that made up the story about me saying bad things about the soldiers. The beautiful thing is that these people were willing to come out and say it didn't happen that way. This man was I had them into the White House, and they didn't have to do this. They could have sat back, and your daughter is so proud of you. I'm telling you, they didn't have to do that. I didn't, I have these people saying all this bad stuff. Then all of a sudden, the family that they're talking about comes out of nowhere and says, President Trump was perfect. What he did was so great. He got us the money. And I did say, if we couldn't get you the money for the funeral, I was going to pay it. But he got us the money, and it happened so quickly and nice. And they came out and they said that. Who would do that? A lot of people wouldn't do that. They'd sit back and they say, well, he was a nice guy, but we don't want to get involved or something. We love you. Thank you very much. We love you. And it was phony stories by a general that got fired, and he's a whack job, total whack job, a general. It's funny, when you fire people, see, Biden has never fired anybody, but when you fire people for doing a bad job, they get a little bit angry. Somehow it just seems to work. But he was a nut job to start off with. So it's such a beautiful story. Out of nowhere, we get a call saying that problem solved. Why? Because the family came to, and they said that the magazine totally lied and misrepresented. This was the same magazine that said that I said about dead soldiers that there was something, what was it, suckers and losers. Think of it. I'm supposed to be standing there over the graves of soldiers with people around me, military people or whatever, making a statement like that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine anybody doing it? I think I'd end up I may be the president, but I think somebody would start a fist fight. And probably I would say, you were right in there. Who would do this? They make up stories. It's not even like they have sources. They don't have sources. They're storytellers. They say, what would be bad? I have a bad one. And you know when it's always released? Same time with the last one. It's released just before the election. That suckers and losers story, which was totally fabricated. There's nobody that loves the military. And these were World War I heroes. They died in World War I, and I'm saying, they were suckers. I mean, you'd know me. They were suckers or losers. Can you imagine it? And the problem I have, Ted, is that 5, 10, 20% of people, when they read that, they're going to believe it. So I talk about it because it was a terrible thing. I walked past, I remember we were doing a big event, and I was going back to Air Force One, and they were under the wing, these fake news people. They're so bad. There's a lot of them back there, by the way. We got a lot of them honoring that special person, right? We got a lot of fake news. But I remember I'm walking past, and I hear the people shouting and everything. And I heard this one voice, loud, boisterous, horrible voice, say, did you call the dead soldiers from World War I suckers and losers? I said, I didn't. To myself, I said, man, that's a bad one. Because it's what? This sleazebag reporter, Goldberg, against me. And a percentage of people have to believe it, so all I can do is talk about it. But as soon as I heard that statement, I said, man, that's bad. Because to me, that's so bad. And that's what they do. These are evil people. They're a threat to democracy. And, you know, we are not a threat. The threat to democracy is the other side. They've weaponized the courts. They've weaponized the FBI to go after people. They go after parents. They're going after Catholics. I don't know what's with Catholics lately. But if you're Catholic, you're being persecuted. Anybody that votes as a Catholic for this horrible candidate that can't put two sentences together, she can't speak. She can't put two sentences together. Can you imagine her standing with President Xi of China? I don't think so, Ken. I don't think. He would be a very happy man, but hopefully that won't happen. And based on the first 4 days, it's not going to happen. I want to thank some of the special guests we have. Senator Ted Cruz for being here, Senator Ted. And it's hard to believe he's in a race because, honestly, I don't know who would want to run against him because he's really a great senator. He's a great senator. He loves the country. He's tough as hell. He fights. He's always fighting, and he's fighting for the state, but he's fighting more for the country than just about anybody. And John Barrasso would acknowledge that. John is one of our leaders in the Senate, and he's a fantastic man. So Ted, I know your thing is going good. I heard you were helped very greatly. You got a big pop, right? And I know you're doing great, but I just want to say he's got my complete and total endorsement. He has always. He always will have. And you're going to have a great day, and hopefully I'm going to have a great day, and we're going to be celebrating together, and we're going to make our country, as we say, or we'll make America great again. We're going to make it great, and it's going to go faster than you think. But it can't sustain this for another 4 years. That I do believe. A very good friend, the head of my campaign from the day I ran, he called. He said, I want to run your campaign. I said, well, I'm not very experienced. I'd never done this before. But he liked me, and he saw something, I guess. Dan Patrick, he's a fantastic man. And Dan, we're doing okay, I hear. Good? Okay, good. When Dan says that, that's good. And by the way, if I had any problems, he would tell me that very quickly, right? But when Dan says it, it means a lot. Thank you, Dan, very much. Appreciate it. Attorney General Ken Paxton, a really great Attorney General. Great Attorney General. Thank you. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You see, when they go after people with bullshit, they become very popular. And that's what happened to Ken. Ken was made to suffer for a long period of time, but it worked out very well. And I stuck by him, and other people stuck by him. Some of the people right there stuck by him, including that one right there. So I think Ken, I said, he's a great Attorney General. You got to stick by your Attorney Generals. And I'm very happy the way that all worked out. But you went through a lot, right? And that's why they love you, because they understand that. Agriculture Commissioner, another friend of mine, Sid Miller. The first time I saw Sid, he was on television. Alexis, he was on television, and I didn't know him at all. He was on Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Sid Miller on Deface the Nation. That's the name I call it. They don't like it. They spend millions on PR, and then I get on and say, Deface the Nation. But they do deface the nation, and the others are just as bad. But he was on there, and they said, well, Trump is going to be in a tight race. This is when I first ran in Texas. And we had an event, and we had a line that went 10 miles long to get into a stadium, and they couldn't even get in. And he looks at the anchor. He said, listen, I'm from Texas. He's had that beautiful hat on. I love that hat. I'd love to wear it, but it wouldn't work for me, I don't think, Ken would. Ken would say, it's no good for you. Take it off, please. But now he said, I don't know where you come from, but you don't come from Texas, because this guy's going to win in a landslide. And we won in a landslide, right? So thank you. Thank you. Sid's a great guy. Thank you, Sid. Appreciate it. Land Commissioner Dawn. Oh, I like that. I'd love to be Land Commissioner. I love real estate. Land Commissioner Dawn Buckingham. Thank you, Dawn. Great. Doing a good job. I hear that from everybody. And Chairman of the Texas Republican Party, Abraham George. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good job. So just in closing, thank you, Abraham. Great job. Immediately upon taking the oath of office, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. We will put, and I don't like saying that, you know, the record is Dwight Eisenhower, who was essentially a moderate, good president. General Eisenhower, good president, good general, probably a very good general, right? Better than he gets credit. He never got credit for a lot of things. He built the interstate system, actually. He should get a lot of credit. But he was a very good president. But he was a moderate guy. But he has the record for deportation because he could not stand people pouring into the country. And I think we'll break that record. Not that I want to break it, but we have no choice. We have to get all of these criminals, these murderers and drug dealers and everything. We're getting them out. And we'll put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country, and we'll get them out. Ideally, we want to get them out because we don't want to have to pay for their room and board for the next 50 years, right? To expedite removals of the Trinidad Aragua group and the MS-13 other savage gangs, I'll invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Did you know that? I had to go back that far. We couldn't find anything because modern day politicians, even sort of old time, nobody had the courage of these original people. So we had to go back to 1798, and it gives you the power to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil, and you can get them out, and there's no problem. And at least you can't say that it hasn't been around for a while. That's something, right? And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility for parole. So, you know, because a lot of people, what happened, and it happened with Eisenhower, you'd take them out, they'd come back in, they kept coming in. So he kept bringing them further away. At some point, they didn't come back. But I'm going to do it differently. It's a 10-year system of you're in prison for 10 years with no parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. And you'll be amazed how it worked. You know, when I was in the White House, we had a lot of people that wanted to pull down statues and things, and I didn't like it too much, and we didn't have time to pass a law because they were really getting pretty violent around in Washington, D.C., and they wanted to pull down. You know, actually, when they started roping up Abraham Lincoln and a couple, I said, I'm not even sure they knew what they were doing. But we found a law that was in the early 1900s, very tough law, that if you so much as touch in violation of anybody's word, if you so much as touch a monument or a statue, you get 10 years in jail. And I had a news conference, and the town was flooded. We had a news conference. They had actually a rope around Andrew Jackson's head, the beautiful statue. And I said, we're going to go fast. And I went out, I did it. And it was a beautiful sight. The second I announced 10 years in jail, no probation, nothing. And as soon as I said it, everybody just sort of walked. I could see them walking. I don't want to use the term I used last night. A certain part of their body, I watched the back. I saw thousands of them, and I said, what a beautiful sight. They just left. And that was the end. We had no more problem until about 2 months ago, in D.C., where they became very violent. They were fighting with police. They were putting spray paint on our beautiful, on the lions, the beautiful lions. And, you know, they're sandstone, and that's a very porous stone. You'll see that spray paint for many years to come, like hundreds of years. You can't really get it out. It goes deep into the stone. And to the best of my knowledge, nothing happened to them, did they? They were beating up cops, or the cops were beating them up, but they were fighting. They were fighting our police, our great police. We're going to take care of our police, too, by the way. They're going to stop the lawlessness. And I'm going to end all migrant flights immediately. You know, they're still flying flights coming in with 450,000 people over a fairly short. 450,000, that's a lot of flights. And I'm going to outlaw immediately, and we're going to ask you guys to help on that, but we're going to outlaw immediately sanctuary cities. They're sanctuaries for criminals, and we're going to end catch and release once and for all. And Kamala Harris, she started this nightmare open border, no common sense. We're the party of common sense. There's no common sense to an open border, and I will stop this nightmare immediately. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. So I want to thank everybody for being here. And Alexis, I want to thank you, darling. And your daughter, very proud of you right now, I can tell you. Very proud. This unbelievable family back there, thank you very much. We won't forget it. We're going to meet in the White House. We get there, I told them we're going to have lunch in the White House. All right? And that goes for you. Are we allowed to bring Alexis? Can we do that? They said yes, okay? So we're going to do that in honor of your beautiful Jocelyn, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thought he was going to take questions, but no questions being taken. He just made remarks. It wasn't a true press conference. It was just talking to people. So he was right. He was dead on about what he said. Hold on. I mean, these people are flooding across the border, and I'm so happy that he mentioned everything that happened with the Virginia judge saying that it's okay for these newcomers to just go ahead and stay on the ballot. I mean, basically have access to the ballot. That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Crazy. Now, somebody in the chat said that they saw a confirmation that the Rogan interview is at 10 p.m. tonight. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that. I'll look it up. Obviously, if I can, I will cover it. So I want to show you something that popped up today. This thing that popped up today was in response to Kamala and all these idiots basically calling, Trump Adolf. Well, here's somebody who actually knows what that means. And it's a very chill. It's only a minute and a half, but I want you guys to check this out. Listen to this.
My name is Jerry Wartsky. I'm 94 years old and survivor of Auschwitz and the death marches. Adolf Hitler invaded Poland when I was 9 years old. He murdered my parents and most of our family. I know more about Hitler than Kamala will ever know in 1,000 lifetimes. For her to accuse President Trump of being like Hitler is the worst thing I've ever heard in my 75 years living in the United States. I know President Trump, and he would never say this, and Kamala Harris knows this. She owes my parents and everybody else who was murdered by Hitler an apology for repeating this lie.
Why should the Jewish people support President Trump?
Because he's a mensch. I believe that President Trump is definitely going to be good for Israel, because in everything that he's done up to now was in favor. He never double-crossed anyone, and he never showed any weakness. Watching President Trump pray for the hostages at the Ohio and spend time with him so meaningful. He has always stood with the Jewish people and the state of Israel.
I think they'd call that checkmate. I think you can basically say, hey, Kamala, shove it. Here's a man whose family was killed by Adolf, and he's calling you on your BS. Now, that's something you won't see on MSNBC or CNN or CBS. They'll completely ignore it because they have to keep that BS moving and telling people how bad of a guy he is. Even though an Auschwitz survivor tells them otherwise. Now, they'll probably scurry around. They'll probably try to find their own Auschwitz survivor, somebody who survived the entire time, to say just the opposite, because that's how petty they are. Instead of realizing, yeah, we might look really stupid right now, keep saying this stuff over and over. And to me, I don't understand, well, actually I do understand, the lack of compassion that you have for people, that you're willing to basically stir up this memory again and defile them, defile all those families who went through that by comparing this guy who's running for president to Adolf. Do you not even realize what these people went through? Do you not care what they went through? Did you not learn on October 7th how the Jewish people are continually attacked? And now you want to tell somebody who, as little as a few years ago, all these Democrats were chummying up to. We saw Chuck Schumer at the Al Smith dinner right next to Adolf. He was chumming it up with him, laughing. But you want to take that and try to tell people what you have actually lived and seen is not true. So if this man who went through Auschwitz and saw his family murdered, it's not true. And all the pictures we see of Trump with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali and every president for like the last 20 years. You borrowed money from him. He's donated. Even Bill and Hillary. He was in movies. So he wasn't Adolf then. So now he's Adolf because he's running against Kamala Harris. Wow, man, that's one hell of a character change, isn't it? And it's amazing that you had that kind of discernment to see that this guy who last week was sitting there chumming it up with the leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, was literally an arm's length away joking with him. It was right there. He tapped him on his shoulder. It was right there. But somehow the leader of the Senate, who is a Democrat, was laughing along with Trump, and then the next week he's Adolf. You people disgust me. Absolutely disgust me. Oh yeah, and somebody says, yeah, the award from the NAACP. Yeah. Barry, where can we find that video? That video, it's all over the place on X. These people here probably might not like it, but it's all over the place on X. You can find it. Just put in, Holocaust survivor Trump, and it'll probably show right up. Let me see if I can even show you. Somebody asked me earlier, and it was kind of funny. I found it interesting. Somebody said, is there it said Elon needs to, the guy said Elon needs to create a search engine. And I'm like, he already has. You see right, you can't see it over here. Let me see if I can make this its own page. All right, so right here on every, I can't make it wide enough, but anyway, it might be at the top now. Hold on, let me go home. Okay. Oh, there it is. Search, right there. So all you got to do is hit the search button. There's search. And there's the, over on the side, there's a little button. So you hit search, and you put Holocaust survivor Trump. Let's see what pops up. Boom. First thing. Right there. Right there. Right there. So if you want to know how to find it, there it is. Right there. It's all right there. It's that simple. There is a search engine on X. It's probably even better than Google because it's current. It's what's happening right now. But, I just found probably hundreds of incidences of people posting that video. So it literally is that easy for you to do so. It's everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. The Adolf stick is turning off the indies. Yeah, it's turning off a lot of people. Yeah, they should start ridiculous rumors on X. It turns independence into Trump. It's ridiculous. That was just on X, Caleb. When I just searched, that wasn't any channel. I just put the term Holocaust survivor Trump in X, and it just all those videos came up. Am I covering the election? Of course I'm covering the election. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. Plus, not blocking you from finding. Yeah, exactly. Plus, it's not blocking you from finding stuff. Yeah, if it's on X, which if it's news related, sports related, entertainment related, you're gonna find stuff, and you'll get all kinds of different things. Google is left sided. Agree. So I use I use most of my stuff. I search on an X. Everything I need from a current events perspective is right there. It's actually more powerful than Google. Google gives you search rankings, but they limit them. You get 10, and then you got to go to the second page and look and you're going, and you don't know how they ranked it. Whereas you put that in X, and it just shows you it all. It might be from me, it might be from Obama. Who knows? It doesn't matter. If it's there, it's there, and they'll show you them. Yeah, Google censors searches. Absolutely. I just voted half an hour ago. Congratulations. The poly market numbers are unrecoverable for Kamala. Let me see what they're up to now. Let me hit refresh. Yeah, it's This is the latest poly market. 65.4, 34.7, 30-point margin. As I've been telling you, it's done, over, completely over. We are now into the cheating and defending phase. That's all it's going to be for the next 10 days, cheating and defending. So I'll look to find out about the Rogan thing, but most importantly, 7 p.m. tonight, a big rally in, I'm going to say Traverse, Michigan. I hope I said it right. Traverse, Michigan. But that's going to be a decent rally. I want you guys to all attend. Let me go ahead and do super chats before I get out of here. I got to get some lunch. Hold on. Where am I? Okay, here we go. I wonder why Trump gave that speech today. Interesting. It wasn't planned. It was kind of out of the ordinary, but for some reason he wanted that to happen today. And it wasn't because he knew that the Virginia thing has happened. So I'm kind of wondering. And I also wonder why Ted Cruz didn't come up. But that's just me. All right. Hey, Ryan, thank you. Do you have hope that Trump will actually win fairly, unlike 2020? Oh, yeah. I think he's going to win. I don't think they can do enough with everything they're planning to do to overcome what we're doing. I think the voting is going to be strong enough that it is going to be too big to rig. My concern is thereafter. That's what I've been saying. Our Heath, the problem is the newcomers won't vote. Someone else will use their name to vote. Good point. Just another knucklehead. Any idea for Joe and Trump podcast? Going to be looking at it. If I can, like I said, if I can find it and it's allowed, I will show it. Adam Duncan, isn't that a state she's projected to win anyway? Which state are you talking about? Not Texas. Cantu Nguyen, thank you. Just another knucklehead. Former Vatican ambassador calls Harris an infernal monster who obeys Satan. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Adam Gonzalez, all this sketchy voter fraud that is going on makes me wonder if they are setting a trap on the Republicans. Could be. Don't put it past them. They're going to do anything. Be prepared for that. CR, what I would want to be as far as these people do as possible, like Usher and Beyonce. JL Hunt, love you, Barry. Finally subscribing, watching on X2. Thank you very much. Tommy Radcliffe, you are so real, Barry. Thank you very much. Just another knucklehead, third time. Hey man, Barry, how about leading a team prayer to defeat the demons? Kamala Walton can hurt, right? Might defeat them. I'm not a pastor, but I mean, I'll try in a second here. Mr. Papa Dog, thank you very much. Marcos Murphy La Ortiz 10. I'm Marcos from Atlanta, born and raised. I love your show. I voted for first time ever for Trump yesterday. Good boy. Good going. Big Cat, you wake up every day, get online and fight. Bless you, Barry. Never stop. Got to keep fighting. That man took a bullet. Least I can do is get my ass up and get in front of this camera. Just another knucklehead. Salute to Elon Musk and his SpaceX. Mission accomplished with a rescue effort. That's the guy that they're going after. This guy who basically went up and brought them back, the astronauts. They landed safely today, and that's the guy they're trying to attack. Thank you, 1776 Viking. Congratulations, Barry. You won the Viking raffle for you and your wife for voting. I wonder if this will trigger the FBI, NSA, and Department of Injustice at me for election interference. Thank you very much. Tommy Radcliffe. Kamala only signed the paperwork for her prosecutors. She did none of the work. Doesn't matter anymore. Blue hair nutcases will vote for her. Yep, doesn't matter. Kyle Frost, Democrats would have taken that soundbite of you saying you slept with a goat and tried to use the I didn't say me. I said somebody else. Demon of Cybertron. Plus, the people that they advocate for probably do that stuff. If the power grids go down, Tim Walz goes broke. He has no investments. Hope he realizes that. It's a weird dude, man. D-Lad, once I was speaking about ecstasy pills with a friend, and next thing I know, Facebook on my phone was showing me literally ads for some phony pills. Yep, 1776 Viking again. Thank you, Barry. The book 1984 was supposed to be a warning, not a Democrat instruction manual. They basically turned it into a playbook at this point. Anna Mengel. And you know what's funny, too, is that they keep calling Trump Adolf and keep calling him fascist when they are actually doing the fascist playbook. It's remarkable that the idiots on the left don't really see that they're the ones executing the operational plan. Anna Mengel, thank you. They could release a film of young Don doing rails off a transformer rear end. I would just donate to another 40 seconds. Oh God, that's too funny. Russell, he's probably late because of the horrible traffic in Austin because of the incessant road construction. It makes everything late to everything. That could be. I haven't been to Austin in a while. Texas, this is Jocelyn's mother to the right. How horrible. How horrible what happened to her daughter. He had the presence of mind to go, I'm not, whatever was on that paper, he's like, no, I'm not reading this. She's standing right here. I'm not going to read this stuff here. Erica, thank you. Madeline Mack, thank you, Barry, for always being there for us and making sure we keep it as informed as possible. I voted already, too, for your great President Trump. Thank you very much. Arizona, we can't let Kamala appoint even one judge. Nope. Popular vote, where'd that go? DJ Mitchell, popular vote means nothing. Too big to rig never works. We don't decide who wins, they do. The Electoral College always wins. Wake up, people. Seeking Finland, being able to cheat and defame people is what the Democrat Party calls democracy. Matthew Kinney, the left is saying way too much if Trump wins. Very scary. Seek and Finding, God bless this man. Donald Trump is a good man. Absolutely. And Traverse City, like Traverse City. I'm going to have to look it up and get phonetically educated because I really don't know how to say it. There was a town when we were talking about the newcomers going to that town in Alabama. That was the hardest town I ever had to learn how to pronounce. I mean, that was absolutely nuts. So, somebody asked me to pray. I'm not a pastor. I'm a praying person, myself, but I'm not really good at it. I try, but let me just say this. I personally pray for every single person who's got some fear, trepidation as to what's happening, and the fear is mostly of the unknown. It's mostly fear of not understanding what these people are capable of. And I ask for God to give them that discernment so that they understand what they need to do to keep their families safe. I would direct them to Matthew 6:25-34. And I don't have the exact wording of that passage, but basically it's don't worry. Give it up to God. Do what you need to do here on earth. And because God knows what the birds are doing, He knows what everything else is going on, He'll take care of you. But I believe if He's given you the intelligence of the discernment to use it. So I pray that you would use that discernment to get your family affairs in order, knowing what these people are capable of. I always say that the upside takes care of itself. That's fine. If you never have to use the stuff you pack in a garage, so be it. If you never have to use the ammo that you purchase, so be it. But you're not going to waste it. And there's no wasting in preparing and taking care of your family and yourself. There's no way to waste that. So I ask God's protection over you. I ask God's protection over this country. I ask God's protection over Donald Trump and the people surrounding him, because we're about to enter into that new phase of the good versus evil war. And I pray each one of you guys every single morning put on the armor of God and be prepared for what we're going to be facing. These people are evil. As many people have said, this is no longer about right and left, Democrat, Republican. It is purely good versus evil. And we all know and believe evil cannot win, but evil can damage. So that's why I keep telling you to prepare. So, I ask that in God's name, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so 7 p.m. tonight, look for you guys to meet me for the Traverse rally at 7 p.m. That's going to be the death of me, not understanding how to say that doggone town. But anyway, big rally in Michigan tonight. I'm going to look up and find out about the Joe Rogan time frame. Thank you guys for coming on in today. Hope the rest of your day is good. We got 4 hours. Let's make those 4 hours count. God bless you.